Hi, welcome to Colleagues Getting Coffee. My name is Annalise James and today I am joined by Pam Bates.
Good morning.
Of the Silk Bow Group. Good morning. How are you today?
Very well. Sun's shining.
Sun is shining.
It's got to be good.
Amazing. So can you tell me a little bit more about Silk Bow Group and what do you do?
So the Silk Bow Group was set up originally for events so that I was working for a charity at the time, and my business partner Jenny Todd set up the company so that we could actually do more for the charity.
Okay.
I've left now and I'm running Silk Bow events, but Jenny runs Silk Bow Bookkeeping and Silk Bow Basics, and we've got another one called Silk Bow Global Yachts.
Oh, fancy. So it's kind of like a collaboration business with all different kind of facets with skills. That's amazing. Okay, cool. So you focus on the events?
Most of the events and global yachts. But the events, I mean, I've been in events for like 40 years and I'm very good at them because I have an incredible team that I can call upon at any time. So we don't have lots of people working for us all the time. We have subcontractors and they're all great at what they do. So it makes life really easy.
There's a lot of power actually in having virtual networks to do things and come together for key projects, because you learn and you trust, and then because there's no continual payment going on, they come in, do the job, boom, and make it amazing.
And it is great because they're very enthusiastic. We all get on very well. If someone doesn't get on with us, they probably might not work for us again. And my magic words are, get your bag, you're going home. So
like Alan Sugar.
Pretty much. Because a lot of the events that we do involves a lot of people, and it can be over 4 or 5 days, and or 10 days in Hampton Court Palace Flower Show, Ideal Home Show, doing fashion shows. If you get someone who's disruptive or miserable or moaning, it doesn't work.
Well, events are about capturing the magic and making impossible things happen.
Yeah.
And if you've got someone dragging that down, that's quite tricky.
It's not good. Yeah. But everybody thinks that I'm really nice, and Jen looks quite stern at times, so that they think she's the bad one. But it's me that I won't put up with anything that will disrupt the event.
Yeah. So what's been your favourite event that you've put on in your long?
Oh gosh, there's so many. I guess Hampton Court Palace Flower Show. I'm the only person that has produced a fashion show at the flower show, and it's the RHS, so it's not easy because you know they're who they are. We had to have everything on the catwalk that had a nod to plants or flowers, and we did 5 shows a day, so 3 proper fashion shows and 2 plant shows where the models were showing off plants. Okay. It's online. There's a few videos on YouTube.
Will you send us a link for it?
I can, indeed.
That'd be amazing. I'd love to see it.
So yeah, that was my favourite one. But I guess one of the most unexpected ones. You know me well enough to know that I say yes a lot. If I don't like what I've done, I won't do it again. But I made friends with Sarah Ducasse at Storm Models, who's a long-term friend of Richard Branson. Now, Storm does all the high-end stuff, commercial, some catwalks, but it's mostly editorial. And I got a call out of the blue from Sarah because we'd done some things together that weren't paid jobs. And she said, would you like to do a job for Richard Branson? So I said, is the Pope Catholic? I'm in. So it was promoting the new routes for Virgin Atlantic, and he'd taken over the square outside Liverpool Street Station. And we bussed up 40 of my guys, the personality people, every day. And there was Mary J. Blige, Jocelyn Brown, backing Broncos, because I think this must have been one of the States ones. But through that, doing something for nothing for someone, you know, I'm not expecting anything. If I'm free, I'll always do something for free. Because other people don't usually know that anyway.
There's a lot of power in doing things for free. And actually
nice.
A lot of power in saying yes. like people always find that they end up in the best opportunity because they've said yes to something and it's led to something else.
Yeah, you find that about opportunities, you know, when you go networking and you've had a long day and you think, oh, I don't really want to go out tonight, and you get there and it's like one of the best ones you've got to.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I like that.
So if we're thinking about people who are maybe in events or looking to put on events potentially, what would be your top tips for a good event or a good PAM event? What's
I think the worst thing about setting up an event is that everybody thinks they're an event organiser. Now, if everything goes to plan, that's fine, they'll get away with it. But once something doesn't, I've got such a good network that I know that I can get out of anything, and I'm a bit belt and braces. So for the event we've just done, I had 3 people that could have hosted. And luckily I did, because the one that was going to do it was ill.
Oh, God.
And I only found out on the Monday that he couldn't do it, and the event was on the Thursday. And there were quite a few things like that about this event. But if you're ready for anything, and I hate outdoor events. When I was living in Italy and doing it, easy. But here, you can't bank on the weather ever, can you? So.
It's funny because I used to work at a college and we used to do kind of events, and my manager used to imagine and walk through the event, and she'd be like, I'm walking into the event, and she had a checkboard and she imagined her whole route through the event and what she wanted to see, and it was really interesting because she was just there, and I thought it was always stuck with me because if you actually are an attendee and you're thinking, what impresses me? What should I be seeing?
That's quite funny actually, because if I can see the event in every stage, I know that it will work. And if there's something that's not working, then it moves. Or move it. And I like to be quite mysterious, because if you don't promise people things, the other thing that went wrong at that is that, you know, the red carpet experience we had at Women Mean Business. All videoed, it was all edited, and it was supposed to be going up on the screens over lunch, and none of the screens worked.
Oh, actually, they didn't work, did they? Yeah.
No, but I hadn't told anyone that was happening.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, you've got to kind of like rabbits in hats, hide some things away, and then it's like, extra exciting things for people, isn't it?
Yeah.
But if you promise it and you don't deliver, then that's like...
But I do like quirky things and a bit different, but it's always got to be relevant to who you're working for or who you're doing it for. It's not just, I want to put on an event because it's what I want. I do a lot of what we call gin and tonic research. Ask all our peers, and what do you think of this? What do you think of that? Because you can't be arrogant.
Yeah, well, I think you've always got to learn.
Yeah,
you? Always.
Still keep learning.
So part of the success of your recent event, Women Mean Business and a few good men.
Yeah.
Women Mean Business and a few good men was the calibre of people that you got through the door.
Yeah.
And so many people were mentioning about people thought it was going to be, I thought it was going to be same, because Hampshire's small, same people, but it was a real diverse mix of people, and I was like, this is amazing, because it was so different. And then obviously you had a whole lovely calibre of people talking, hosting, interviewing, speaking. You've got a really, really powerful network, haven't you? Yeah. How is that so? How did you create that?
Do you know what? I love people, and there are people that as I've said, I've let go along the way, but I do surround myself with really positive people. I don't like energy vampires. I don't like people that take advantage of others, and I'd always treat everybody as the best that I can. I love people. You know, sometimes, they're a pain in the backside, but I love people, and I think that's why. And I've always aligned myself with people that are great at what they do. It's just infectious as well. And we've got a WhatsApp group with about 15 women in, from 21 I guess to 70, and it's about business, but we all socialise, and we'll have a supper. So I say a supper at our house at this. It's the most amazing thing, because we've all got different qualities, we've all got different jobs, and they're a powerful little group, they are.
Yeah, that's amazing. And it's again, like you're doing with your business, is collaboration, bringing people together. And it's really, really powerful, isn't it, bringing people together?
Yeah. And the thing that I'd like most about the last event is that I wanted to celebrate everyone that was helping us, all the sponsors, people that were doing goods in kind, not so much the people that were attending unless they were a sponsor, on LinkedIn, and it's been one of the most successful thing I've ever been in, because we were getting up to 5,000 views sometimes on LinkedIn on one profile, asking them, tell us 3 things about you that we don't know. Some of them were hilarious. I swear a few of them lied, but actually it was great to be able to promote other people.
Well, I think that's the success of Colleagues Getting Coffee, actually, is because people are like, oh, I know XYZ, but I never knew that about them. And they love finding out a little bit more about people, which I think is it's nice, isn't it?
It is. It's nice to know the people. There's too many people that don't understand how they should network, though, because people buy people, not the job. Doesn't matter what job you do, so you stand up and do. My favourite one is, that I really hate, is somebody sitting down with a poem. And that's like, oh God, it's like death by network, death by poem. But you know, people, if you tell a little story about yourself, or this is what happened to me, and this is the outcome, people, you get to know someone. I want to know who they are. I don't care what they do.
Yeah, absolutely, because I think that's, for me, actually it's translated quite a lot. So I've worked in education, now I don't, but people have followed me and want to use me for me. It's weird, and I was like, I thought that people would want the friendship thing or whatever, but it's not. Yeah, you're right, people buy people.
People buy people.
So you are a bit of a risk taker, so you say yes and inadvertently end up in risk. So so some of the risk you've taken before, you've moved to Italy and just randomly...
Oh God, well, the Italy story is that we were fed up, my husband and I were fed up with our jobs, and we were going to buy a small holiday home. And if you don't know, I've got 4 children anyway, and 2 were at uni. Georgina was at Peter Simmons. Ian was already working and living in Italy with my brother, and we thought we'd buy this little holiday house, broken down, that we could go across every now and again and do it up. And we went looking in August of 2002, found this abandoned farm. I looked at loads, got chased by dogs, climbed in windows. It was lucky if they had a roof on them. You know, it was that bad. It wasn't just like a little bit. We came across this great big house, and 3 stories. And the estate agent had been telling us about 2 houses, one that had nearly finished and one that was like really cheap. And it got a roof, it got windows, it even got a door. You know, it was like bonus. Lots and lots of ground on a hill about 700 metres up, looking across the mountains. Absolutely stunning, all overgrown. So it'd been abandoned for 30 years. That was the cheap one.
Okay.
It's £42,000. It was 500 square metres over 3 floors. And we looked at each other and we went, we really like this. So we made an offer, paid the deposit, and had to find the money and sell our house. So we managed to sell it, and I think we did the final payment in the January of 2000. It must have been the January of 2002. That must have been the week before Christmas. We'd sold the house already. My husband decided that he would put his notice in at work, but he didn't tell me that, and we got a massive great mortgage because we remortgaged as well.
Oh my God.
Honestly. So anyway, it all worked out. Long story short, he went over in the March and started doing some of the, like, there were brambles like that. You know, it was nuts. We did turn it into a 9-bedroom country house hotel and restaurant, and we were 8th on TripAdvisor in our first year when opening in 2003. We had to be ready for February because I'd booked the whole house out.
Oh my God.
And everything was done except the garden, and it was a mess. There was piles of tiles and stuff, and I thought, oh, they're going to complain. But then when we woke up the morning we were going to collect them from the airport, it had snowed overnight. The garden looked amazing. So thank you, whoever that was.
So that's a big risk, right?
Yeah,
but pays off.
We were turning $1 million a couple of the years, and then the recession came, and we decided that we were going to come home and set up a gastropub. And I came backwards and forwards looking for some, but we were struggling to sell ours. So I think in its peak it was worth 800,000 euros. In the meantime, this is 2010 now. David got an abscess on his tooth, my hubby, and went to the dentist, teeth out, as you do, and it happened a couple more times. And he got sent to a specialist dentist and then a biopsy. And we found out a couple of days before Christmas that it was actually a cancerous tumour. So not good news. We had a big operation out there, and where we lived, not many people spoke English. So we decided there's no way we could run the hotel. It was up for sale still, and came back to UK, and I got a job as banqueting manager at Norton Park. And he went to play golf every day, which I'm joyful of, because so that was October 2010, 2011, October he was gone. So, but you know what? I have no regrets. I have no regrets about that big adventure. But we didn't sell it for a couple more years after he'd gone, and we got 210,000 for it. But we didn't, because most of it was taxes, and we owed some people money. So I got £2,000 me.
Oh my God.
Do you know what I did with it? I bought an Audi TT. That put the deposit down on an Audi TT, and I said to him, "Thank you very much. I'm really happy." You know, you can't go back. None of us know how long we've got, and I think you have to make the most of every single day.
Absolutely, and it's up and down, isn't it? Life and business and everything. So you've got to ride the roller coaster.
But nothing really, once you've gone through something like that. I don't think, I think you have a different mental. I mean, I've always been very positive about everything. He used to say, you can make something out of nothing, which I can, pretty much. And I think once you've gone through that, you realise life is so precious. So I have 4 kids, 8 grandchildren so far. There's probably a couple more coming. But do you know what? I love life, and I still keep saying yes.
Yeah, that's important. So we've talked about your powerful network, but how do you target or connect with people outside of your network? How do you get those good connections?
My early days, when I set up my first event company and model agency, I wanted to align myself with all the people that had good reputations. So not a seedy little office up a back staircase, because if mums are bringing their daughters, you don't want that. And I wanted to do everything. I didn't want it just to be a model agency. So I phoned up Sarah Ducasse from Storm, and we had lunch and we got on, and I have been a friend of her for forevermore. And Judy James, who you met at the event, she same thing again. She was running the Judy James School of Modelling and Grooming in Chelsea.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, funny.
Now, I'd been doing catwalk training for ages, so I can do it, but there's nothing better than having a proper certificate. And so again, we just hit it off. Well, you know what she's like. She's fab, and she said she would train all my girls for nothing. And the boys, because it made the course look better. Again, it's about this free stuff, isn't it? It made the course look better for all the mums that had sent their daughters to it. So that's kind of prime. And because I was friends with Sarah Ducasse, I got invited to their 5th anniversary party at Kensington Roof Gardens. Met Richard Branson there, and then I've already told you the story about working for Branson, which was just amazing. If I go after people, I'll just try and find out who they are, or whether somebody knows who they are. But there's nothing better than word of mouth and meeting people somewhere where you get on. Next thing is to phone. I very rarely email people until I know them. I think you've
just more
got
personal touch.
I think people are lazy in sending out MailChimps for people to do things. I wouldn't even read them. So old school.
Also with LinkedIn, it can be quite impersonal. So do you have a strategy for making that more personal too?
Only the fact that if the next Women Mean Business, I've had quite a lot of likes on the post. So if it's someone that I don't know, I've been emailing them and say, if you fancy a coffee, if you want to know more, I'd really like to meet you. And that I've got appointments coming out of my ears now.
Oh, amazing! Thank you for joining us today. Right. So I'm guessing it's basically making it more personal, connecting with people, actually kind of getting under their skin straight away, and also if you're offering freebie services or exchange of services, then that also kind of puts you on the radar.
It's perfect.
Generosity is really important in business, I think.
I do. I think being generous with your time is imperative. You need to find out who someone is, really. And I think there's a lot of lazy people or maybe they're just uneducated, that they want to say, right, I'm going to tell you about my business. Now my reaction to that is, actually you're not. I want to know who you are. I don't want to know about your business. And that's
always something that stings at networking, when you're like, oh, I've had it before. I went to something recently and someone was just hammering on about their business, and I was just like,
So you're too young and polite.
Great.
I'm growing old disgracefully as I can.
What are you like? Are you just like?
No, I go, excuse me? I've just seen someone I'm going to see. So I just leave them then. So
opportunity over. What was it?
Done.
Not you're fired. What was it earlier? Get your bag.
Get your bag, you're going home.
Okay, so what do you feel is the biggest disruption to events that you've experienced in your...
The weather, Hampton Court Palace Flower Show, the marquee leaked all over the sound desk, so people were standing there with umbrellas because it was full of people, so you couldn't bring a high lift in until that had all gone. So the weather is definitely the worst one, but technology next, and people that don't understand properly or say they can do what they can. And I love working with students, but unless they're looked after, I've had...
Very challenging, can't it be?
Yeah, I've had challenges, shall we say.
Okay, so what's the future of events then? So at the moment, because I've noticed something about your events is that you allow the conversation to happen. So actually, like the event recently, people were interviewing people on stage, and I think that's really powerful because I think we're moving away from speakers because people kind of get bored to death.
Got it in one. And that was my... this gin and tonic, is hilarious. Gin and tonic. I can't even speak now. I don't even drink very much, but that's what we've always called it, gin and tonic research. Talking to lots of people in lots of different places as to what they like and don't. I don't like being talked at, especially by boring people, and I would never book a speaker at all unless I really knew who they were and how they were. Yeah. Because that's, they put themselves up. Anyone can be a speaker. It's...
And what I find hilarious as well is that after someone's done one speaking thing, they're like a qualified speaker on LinkedIn.
Now, I've done my speaking spots. I could have done some of that, but there are better people, and I think we all need to know how good or bad we are. And I used to do a lot of presentation skills stuff with Judy. People do funny things, and it is, you're right, I wanted that day to be very engaging for people to have time to talk to each other, but we're going to tighten it up even more next time so that there's more time for them.
Amazing. So a lot of what we've talked about as well is about give back, and obviously one of the facets of your company, Jenny, is doing quite a lot around the give back piece, isn't she? So can you tell me a bit more about that?
So the Silkbow Basics has been set up for people who might want to be starting a company, just started, so she can advise them whether they're going to be a partnership, a limited company, do they need an accountant, do they need someone to do PR, but it's a gratis. It's just a really nice thing to do to help people along their way. Okay. And if they want to use her as a bookkeeper, Silkbow Bookkeeping, then that's a bonus. But it's not set up for that. It's about helping people, and I'm part of that. So if I'm doing a bit of marketing or PR or helping them with this and that, then that's good.
Is this on a one-to-one, or is it workshops, or how does it work?
No, it can be anything. We are going to do another Navigating Your Way to Success with lots of little workshops, and how to have a good LinkedIn profile, how to get you a great photo. We'll be doing something with that at the LinkedIn local that's coming at Chilworth.
Oh, very nice. I love it. So how can people find out a little bit more about you, about Silkbow?
Go and have a look at my LinkedIn's very lively, but have a look at Silkbow Events, Silkbow Group. We're just working on the websites because we need a few tweaks, but yes, just, or even on my email, you'll find my email. Yeah. Just send me a message.
I love it. Amazing. We'll pop some links in for the video for people.
Thank you.
And they can come out, and then hopefully we'll see them next year at the...
Women Mean Business. I can't say it this morning either.
A few good men. I want to start with
a few good men. Were awesome, weren't they?
Yeah, a few good men. Yeah, for sure. I think it was a nice balance. The men had a reason for being there, and because it wasn't exclusive, was it? It was nice.
No, a lot of men.
Yeah, amazing. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for asking.
And I look forward to getting the links and sharing them and seeing you at your next event.
Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you.